Stories that prove real life has more drama than reality TV, and these are not Reddit stories. These stories were submitted by you guys. First one wants to be left anonymous. My parents want to borrow $10,000 so they can buy my brother an RV. I told them no, and they cut off all contact with me. Am I the a-hole for saying no? You can call me Fifi. I love that name. 24 female. I received a massive blessing about 2 months ago in the mail. My childhood neighbor, let's call her Barbie, a single woman in her 70s who is divorced with no children, gave me a check for $12,000 after I graduated. Talk about being Barbie. That feels like a very Barbie thing to do. Barbie has always been super kind and caring to me ever since I was a little girl. She told me she always viewed me as a granddaughter. She said she enjoyed watching me grow up and admired my life goals. I used the money to pay off my car. A month later, for my birthday, she gave me another $12,000 check. Damn, Barbie. I want to live next to Barbie.
Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie. Hi, Barbie.
I was very shocked, but also very humble, and I thanked her for such a generous gift. Barbie also wants to leave her house and savings to me when she's no longer here. I'm not the kind of person who believes in handouts because I have worked hard for my whole life and I have prioritized my savings. I put the entire second check in my savings, which raised the amount to about $16,000. When I opened the second check at my birthday party, the first words out of my mother's mouth were, "Maybe you should give it to your brother." My brother Danny, 26, had a difficult childhood and experience in school because he's schizophrenic and recently came home to live with my parents after serving time in jail for possession of substances as well as a DUI. My mother believes it is unfair that my neighbor hasn't given him any money. I do not want to be selfish, but I make $17 an hour and I'm setting my hopes up to go to grad school. I also am leasing an apartment by myself for the first time ever, and I own an animal. All of these things are expensive prospects. I live in Colorado and the cost of living is extremely high. I may have to move across the country in a year for graduate school. Meanwhile, Danny hasn't been able to hold down a job, can't stay out of legal trouble, and hasn't known what it means to prioritize your life over meaningless things. I've worked harder in one day than he has his whole life. As you can imagine, I've never had the best relationship with Danny going back to our childhood. He's always been mean to me and would blame me for things I didn't do. Today, my mother called me saying that she and my father want to borrow $10,000 from me to buy my brother a small vintage Detroiter trailer. It would need a lot of renovations and they want to get it inspected. On top of buying the trailer, my brother would need to pay $1,000 a month for rent. He bounces between jobs and does not have much savings because he loves vintage cars, which is a very expensive hobby. Originally, my mom said that if I gave him the $12,000 check, he would likely buy a new engine for his Thunderbird. My brother and I are not on speaking terms. His behavioral problems ruined my childhood, and there have been many times where he has been physically and mentally cruel to me. The only time he spoke to me in jail was the day before he was released, when he asked me to buy him MJ. When I told my parents this, they said that he denied everything. I believe him to be manipulative and he tends to lie pathologically. I have no interest in having a relationship with him at this time. My parents told me they would pay me $1,000 a month for 10 months in repayment so that they would not have to dip into their retirement. I know for a fact they are good for it. They are upstanding and honest people. The only reason I would go through with this is to do it as a favor to them. I do not believe buying an old trailer is the best use of his money, especially because he might not be able to keep up with the rent. He would likely move his girlfriend and her daughter into the trailer as well. His girlfriend works very few hours, so she's still able to receive government assistance. I looked my parents straight in the eye and I told them I wasn't going to do it. I told them if he wants a trailer, he can get it himself. We got into a huge fight and my parents were calling me selfish and that you don't turn your back on family. I'm sorry, but I'm not the one who got involved in substances and served a jail sentence. I'm not the one who can't hold a job down. I have a real job and I am working towards graduating from grad school. I'm not the one that they should be mad at. We are currently estranged because of this and it hasn't been easy. I could care less about Danny, but I love my parents and I want them in my life, but this has made things super difficult to handle. I'm worried that this will cause more drama and lead us astray. Am I the a-hole for refusing to give them the money? No.
Absolutely not.
No, it's your money. I feel like you can do what you want. And if it was under different circumstances with your brother, like if his situation was different, if your relationship with him was different, maybe you would want to help. But I don't blame you at all for not wanting your money towards your future to go back to that. I do understand that they would be paying you back and it's just borrowing. You're not giving. But at the end of the day, that's your choice to make. It's a shame that it would ruin your relationship with your parents if you don't do this. It feels like an ultimatum, like give us the money or we're gonna have a problem. That's crazy. Next story is also anonymous. My family betrayed me in the worst possible way. I got revenge in the best possible way. I'm scared but very intrigued. This took place 10 years ago, and due to privacy concerns, fake names are used. Brace yourself, this is a roller coaster. I, 33 male, founded a small tech startup company that involved helping individuals with mental and behavioral disabilities find the care that they needed. Well, aren't you a little saint? I put everything I had into it, time, money, and endless nights of hard work. Slowly but surely, the company grew into a successful enterprise. Oh, I'm so proud of you. To know that this is a member of the SAS Squad, I'm honored. I'm so excited. I was proud of what I had built from scratch. I'm very passionate about helping others who are less fortunate. Things were going well until my younger sister, Sarah, 29 female, graduated from a prestigious business school. My parents had always favored Sarah, doting on her and showering her with praise, but never me. You could say that she was the golden child. When she graduated, they started pushing her to join my company. They believed she had the business skills to take it to new heights. If you haven't gotten the idea, my parents worked at the company as well as consultants who would help out with the business side of things. At first, I welcomed her involvement. It was nice having family around, and she did have some innovative ideas. In hindsight, a major mistake because things began to take a turn for the worse. Sarah began making decisions without consulting me. She was charming and persuasive, and before I knew it, she had won over the key members of my team. The worst part is, she didn't care about helping and making sure families got the rightful services they needed. She just cared about raking in the dough. I brought this up with my parents, but they just ignored it, saying Sarah was still learning and that things would be okay. But they indeed were not. Then came the ultimate betrayal. During a family dinner, my parents announced their plan to transition leadership of the company to Sarah. Is this not your company? What do you mean? They felt that she was better suited to lead it into the future. How was I handling this? Well, first of all, I was stunned, to say the least. This was my company, my blood, sweat, and tears had built, and they were trying to take it away from me. I had sacrificed so much time and energy to get this thing up and running. I tried to reason with them, but they were adamant. They believed Sarah was the future of the company, and they wanted me to step aside. Hurt and betrayed, I realized I couldn't let this happen. For context, I'm the owner. I own 100%. My parents had no legal authority over me. That's when I began to plot my revenge. Honestly, just fire all of them.
Bye-bye.
Oh, you want to try and choose the company of my company? Bye-bye. Now you don't have jobs. Don't actually do that. I'm just acting out of anger. I started planning my next move. I knew the company inside out, including its vulnerabilities. Quietly, I began transferring the most valuable contracts and assets to a new entity I created. I made sure all the key clients and top talent were on board with the move. Everything was kept confidential without anyone knowing. One day, while Sarah and my parents were busy planning their takeover, I announced my resignation. I revealed that I had started a new company and I was taking the best parts of the old one with me. They were shocked and furious, but there was nothing they could do. The groundwork had been laid perfectly. They threatened that they would take legal action, but I called their bluff because everything was in my name. They didn't have any leverage and no judge would side with them. My new company did, and still to this day continues to flourish. We have successfully managed to secure an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. I need sleep. And have managed to help thousands of individuals with disabilities find the care they need. As for my old company, I can't say the same. Without the core team and most valuable clients, the company went under. I don't have much of a relationship with my parents because of this. Growing up, they always said, what you put out there in life will always come back to you. Well, their plan backfired tremendously, and I got the last laugh. This is karma for their actions. They even had the audacity to ask for money to help them because they're my parents and that I owe them because they raised me. The nerve of these two. Of course, I refused, and they ultimately cut off contact with me. I admit it is sometimes difficult to handle not having contact with two people who were supposed to love me the most, but I know in my hearts of hearts, I did the right thing because this wasn't a result of anything I did. They brought this on themselves and they needed to deal with the consequences. Who knew a child could somehow end up disciplining their parents with the same advice they used when you were a kid? Sweet, sweet revenge. If you're in the chat, I want to know what your relationship is with your sister. Did Sarah want to take over the company, or was that more of your parents' vision? And where do you stand with your sister? Does she still work there and it went under? Do you guys have a relationship? Would you bring her over to the new one? Oh, I want to know. The next story wants to be anonymous. I didn't ever think my life would be dramatic enough to send you this, but here we are, I guess. Am I the a-hole for making my brother-in-law and sister-in-law change wedding venues after the invites went out? Buckle up, besties. It's a wild ride, and I'm sorry it's long. My brother-in-law, let's call him Duke, and my sister-in-law, let's call her Deanna, have been together for 2 years. Summer 2025, they had their wedding. I am still reeling. Backstory: Duke and Deanna got engaged in the winter of 2023. In spring of 2024, they were evacuated from where they lived because of forest fire. They are 12 hours north of us. Of course, we said that they could stay with us. This included them and their 2 large dogs. We live on an acreage and have 2 large dogs ourselves, so this wasn't an issue. Or so we thought. Duke and Deanna enjoy some recreational activities, MJ the Green, which is legal where we live. To each their own. However, we at the time had 2 young children. Legal or not, there are no substances allowed in our home. They were respectful of this rule and kept it outside, although our home reeked the entire time. While here, they would not take care of their large hyper dogs, and it became my responsibility as my husband works full time and I am home with the kids. Their dogs are not well behaved, and I did not feel comfortable taking care of large dogs constantly jumping at me and starting fights with our dogs. Our dogs are large but lazy and they don't jump. I promise the dogs are relevant. They would leave late at night and they would drive under the influence of being high. I don't want to have to deal with that responsibility if anything happens to them. And I don't want anything to happen to them. Anyways, during that time, my other brother-in-law, let's say Tim, got married that year while they were down here for the evacuation. He is brothers with my husband and Duke. Duke and Deanna were late to help with setup and over an hour late to the intimate rehearsal because they were napping, but they were actually smoking. Throughout the wedding, Deanna was commenting on all the things that she would never do at her wedding. It was a classy and well done wedding, and it didn't deserve her snobbery. It is clear from so many instances that they have no respect for others, their boundaries, property, or time. While they stayed with us waiting to be allowed back into their home, they planned their wedding, sort of. They asked if they could have their wedding on our property. This is where my husband and I got married in the height of COVID. Before my husband bought the house, it was a family land. We said we would consider it because it could be considered a special spot for Duke. Eventually, they went back up north. My husband and I talked about it and decided that we could not host a wedding for them. That summer, I became pregnant with our 3rd child. My husband works a lot of overtime in the summer, and they were aiming to get married in July of 2025. We didn't think that we'd be able to get the house or property wedding ready. As well, I didn't want to have to host a wedding while caring for 3 young children, as our baby would be a newborn at the time. And on top of that, much of Deanna's family partakes in recreational activities, and we couldn't trust that these people we didn't know would respect our rules of no green in the house. Now, the one thing that this family lacks is communication, and we must take responsibility for our lack of communication. They said they thought our place would make a great venue. They did not say for sure they wanted to get married there, so we waited to hear about more wedding plans. We didn't want to have to say no and be a-holes if they chose a different venue. We assumed after announcing our pregnancy that they wouldn't expect us to host with a new baby. We told the family about the baby in August of 2024. They never followed up with us, and since we didn't agree to hosting, we assumed they found a different wedding venue. Fast forward to February of 2025. I am as pregnant as it gets, and honestly, my mental health wasn't great. Duke and Deanna send out wedding invites. Location? My address. When? July. I was livid. But my husband, who was also upset, handled it very well. He told them that we were unable to accommodate them, and he was much kinder about it than I would have been. We expected a fight, but they agreed to change the venue. We appreciated that greatly. And it was e-invites, so not costly to change or resend. It was actually free, in fact. Am I the a-hole? I certainly felt bad, but my mental health was so low at that point, I'm not sure I could have done it. Now, on to the wedding update. Now, you may have already decided I am the a-hole for making them change their venue, but let me paint a picture for you of their wedding and celebration. After we said our place was a no-go, they had to look for another venue, but it was difficult because they wanted a specific date, a Thursday. We thought that was weird, but whatever. I don't know anybody who's been married on a Thursday. My husband asked why that date was so important, and we were told, you aren't allowed to ask. Okay. Now it's the end of June, and they are getting married at the beginning of July. As expected, this wedding is messy and unorganized. At this point, they have had 1.5 years to plan and prepare for this wedding. All the decor is DIY, and so was mine for my wedding. My mom and I did it all during our 6-month engagement. Duke and Deanna had done none of it beforehand. Everything is brought down to be made and done only 2 weeks before the wedding. During this time, they are staying with my mother-in-law and father-in-law because I was not housing and caring for their insane dogs with young children and a new baby. Our baby had been born by this time. The family thinks I'm ridiculous for not catering to the needs of the precious family fave and his soon bride-to-be. They try to passive-aggressively encourage us to take the dogs to our house because there is more space on our property. We did not cave. I start to wonder if I am being the a-hole. It is their wedding. Maybe I should be more lenient. But apparently, Deanna doesn't like anything my mother-in-law cooks. I don't always agree with my mother-in-law, and we don't always get along, but she's a good woman, and she will cook anything for anyone. And my sister-in-law keeps saying, oh no, I don't like that, and she won't eat with the family. She will only go get fast food after the meal. My father-in-law cooks a steak. She requests a hot dog instead. They, of course, give her what she wants. But suddenly, mother-in-law is very upset when they leave to stay at a hotel for a few days because the wedding and she is left to care for the dogs and cats. Yes, they also brought their cats because apparently there is no house sitter or animal caretaker where they live. And that is why we didn't want the animals at our house. My daughter had her 2nd birthday the first week of July, and it was great to have them in town so everyone could come to the party. Just a super chill wiener roast. A wiener roast. Sounds not so yummy. Just kidding, I do love hot dogs, let me tell you. Do love me a hot dog. Hot dog in mac and cheese with some ketchup. I know that's controversial, but my sister-in-law is upset that it's hot dogs and won't eat anything, even though that's all she wanted at my mother-in-law's. It unfortunately rains and we have to move the party inside. She sits outside and will not come in to do cake and presents with her niece. I know my daughter won't remember, but it's frustrating when the family won't make an effort with my kids. She's 2. Just come have some cake with her. Supposedly, she has social anxiety, which is fair, except she sure didn't have any during her wedding celebration, which I promise we will get into. So it's the day before the wedding. I go with a lot of other family to help decorate and set up the hall, but we aren't setting up. We are actually making the decorations. They have had a year and a half. We are making signs, bouquets with fake flowers, centerpieces, painting signs, and making and decorating an arch. Nothing was organized. We went out to grab more supplies. It was 30 degrees Celsius in a building with no AC. No. I don't. I'm not saying I do. I absolutely do not. Don't invite me to that wedding, please. Please, I will faint. Oh, heavens. Oh my God. Oh no. I'm like sweating just thinking about that. Her dad had to stop helping to bathe the dogs. It was wild. I worked hard and so did everyone else. They worked their asses off to pull this wedding together for Duke and Deanna. Because despite my bad attitude, we do love them. So I'm rehearsing. The chaplain isn't there to run the rehearsal. We are missing a groomsman and the littlest flower girl, the 18-month-year-old, isn't there to practice. They wanted the grandpas to be part of the professional, which is great, but they also weren't there for the rehearsal. Deanna is looking lost, so I offer to help. I'm no expert, but I've been to a lot of weddings recently, and I explained how things are usually done. And I ask if she wants me to step in or if she just wants me to sit and be quiet. She asks for my help, so I directed the processional. Oh, I think I said professional and I meant to say processional. Y'all understand. It's messy, but we practice and it's okay. She's very specific about the timing of her entrance. The little parts matter. I told her we might have to loop the song as it is quite a long walk down a hill to where they are saying their vows. So finally, the day of the wedding, we get to the hall. Deanna is there, not ready, freaking out because of decor. The groom and groomsmen are almost late because they realized that morning that he didn't have a tie. They also had to stop and grab alcohol for the wedding the morning of. Oof, this is giving me anxiety. I am so prepared with lists all the time. Like, this would drive me insane. Because why would they actually be prepared? When Duke gets there, Deanna starts fighting with him about stuff he was supposed to do, but didn't. It is a mess. Finally, whatever the hell is going on resolved, and she keeps getting ready. The wedding ceremony starts 30 minutes late. In the grand scheme of things, not bad. Probably the best part of the day. So things are off to a rocky start. I need a sip of water, so all aboard the hydration station. Cheers. Let me know what's in your cup, but you should drink some water today. I'm going to be doing a cook with me video in the new kitchen on the second channel. So what should I cook for it? I've baked before, but I haven't actually cooked. Give me some meal ideas that you guys will want to see and we can cook together. And it'll be so fun. And maybe I can just tell some stories while I cook, talk some smack, you know, give you guys whatever's going on in my life. Look at my nail. Look at my nail. I don't want to talk about it. No one thought to bring the speakers out for the music. We finally get it set up and we can start. I'm at the top of the hill with the flower girls and ring bearer. 2 of the 4 kiddos are mine. My son is almost 4. He's the oldest. I asked him to hold the littlest girl's hand and help her down the hill. Music is playing. The bridal party is making their entrance, but not fast enough. Then grandma takes a long time going down the steep hill because they're old and they have bad knees. Deanna starts freaking out saying, why aren't they going fast enough? I said, it's okay, we can loop the song. The grandmas took a little longer getting down the hill than expected. She snaps at me and says, no one gets how important it is until it's their moment. I just didn't say anything because I don't want to be rude. It's her wedding and it can be stressful, but I, of all people, get it. She throws her phone to me. It's connected to the speakers with the music and she doesn't want to carry her phone down the aisle. Fair. We probably should have thought of who was controlling the music during the rehearsal, but I'm not a wedding planner. Now it's time for the children to go. Deanna snaps at the kids to hurry up. They turn around and start coming back up because they think they're doing something wrong. She's yelling at them for going slow and then for them coming back up, so they're little and confused. She snaps again, grabs the littlest one, and barrels down the aisle. My son is sensitive and starts to cry that that this aunt that he barely knows is yelling at him, and there's a lot of people around that he doesn't know. I take my kids and I go sit down. I can only imagine what pictures look like. But somehow it doesn't end there. They have super fast vows, and here's the twist. The chaplain announces they are already married. It is their 1-year anniversary. No one says anything. No one claps. They kiss, dead silence. It's a fake wedding. She yelled at my kids for a fake moment. It's fine to elope, and it's okay to celebrate at a different date if you can't afford it, but to lie to everyone for a whole year? Now we know why that date was so special. A Thursday. Now we know why they picked a Thursday. And a year before, they posted a pic of them both wearing wedding rings, and I had asked, did you guys get married? No. Not gonna lie, I checked out. I didn't help with cleaning up the next day. I wasn't gonna drag my kids back to the hall for another day, and my husband wasn't taking another day off work for his. He was hurt. His brother got married and didn't tell him or anyone about it. My cousin told me to take our gift back. I thought about it, but we didn't. Many people traveled so far for this wedding, anywhere from 5 to 23 hours of driving or flights for a fake wedding, for a joke. I don't even know how to end this. There were so many small things that happened. Deanna asked me, is your husband mad at me? He seems kind of grumpy. I just laughed and walked away. So, am I the a-hole? I didn't let them have their wedding at my house. I didn't help with cleaning up, and I don't want them to stay at my house again. I feel like they have no respect for the time, property, or boundaries of others, and I don't want her around yelling at my kids that she won't take the time to make an effort with. Am I overreacting? Sass Squad, unite in the comments as we discuss this one. Stay classy out there, stay sassy. I'll see you tomorrow.